Whenever I talk about fresh milk flour, the first things some moms might say is, Kaylee, that sounds so great, but I don't have time to be in my kitchen all day long. And trust me, I totally get it. I can see why some moms might think I'm in my kitchen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But if that was true, honestly, I probably wouldn't be doing it either. In the last video, I shared why understanding flour changed how I run my kitchen. This video is the real life part, how fresh milk flour actually fits into a normal week as a busy mom. So here's going to be some of my thoughts why I think some moms might assume cooking from scratch or baking from scratch might mean being in your kitchen all day long. Maybe because we are lacking the skill set to be able to start. Learning new skills take time, they take research, they take a lot of or quite a few fails at that, and it can feel discouraging at first to just not be naturally good at something and maybe feel that tension, that resistance. You think you're getting it, but maybe your family doesn't love it, or maybe there's just new things that you need to learn. I get it. I have been there many of years ago, but I'm here to testify to the truth that if you just push through those hard times of learning a new skill set, it is so highly rewarding and it is so beneficial to your family. You are going to see such great health changes for your family. I feel like there is a huge awakening happening right now of specifically moms looking at ingredients and understanding that it is absolutely terrible for their family, terrible for childhood development. Dyes obviously are a huge one, but even these synthetic forms of gums and preservatives and dough conditioners and all of these things, how can a grocery store bread have 20 ingredients, but mine at home might have less than 10 ingredients to make an even more nutritious loaf for my family that only takes a few skill sets to learn and a little bit of time and dedication to be able to fit this into our schedule. Which leads me into the next topic of what actually takes time versus what people think takes time. My personal weekly rhythm of how I cook from scratch for my family is it actually starts well before I'm even in my kitchen. I've talked about this in previous videos before. I will link those down in the description below if you are interested in watching them. But when we think about our kitchen and the flow of our kitchen, it's not just when you step into the kitchen, it's how you have a flow to your whole entire day. If you're somebody who just really doesn't have a flow, it's going to feel very going just by the fly of when you can do things, how you're going to do things. And trust me, I get it. I have 3 children. I had 2 under 2 many of years ago, what it feels like now, where that's just that season of life. And there is a time and a place for that. But if we can really just pull the curtain back, see where we can strategically place certain baking days to be able to have snacks, or maybe you want to do a whole meal prep, looking back at your whole day, your whole week, your whole month, and being able to strategically place these things will really help you. So I have basically one day a week where I will make 3 loaves of bread at one time that we will eat on for the whole week. Usually about 3 loaves is sustainable enough for us to eat for about 7 days. And then I might have a day where I am making snacks. If I do baked snacks like you're seeing in this video, I will have one specific time where I'm going to make all of these at once and we're going to eat it for 7 days. And usually things like this I am doing during my kids' nap time or quiet time. I still have a child who naps every single day, and then usually this is like the break between like our morning and our afternoon. So we all just need that kind of break. Sometimes I'll invite my kids in, and sometimes I just want to knock it out by myself and get it done. I truly do enjoy baking. It is something that just feels like such a joy to me. I love when my kids come in the house or even just in the house, like right now in the wintertime, just being inside more, and they can just smell the air and just say, Mommy, it smells so delicious. I can't wait to try it. And then they finally try it and their eyes are just, oh, this is so good. I love it. Or if I make a sweet treat before dinner, as dinner might be simmering, they just cannot wait to have that dessert. It just makes me so happy. I love it so much. I think one of my love languages for my family is to bake them cookies. Whenever I bake my family cookies, it just makes me feel, like I just love you so much. And it's just one thing I love to make. I personally do love to bake more than cook. Not that I'm not a good cook. I just feel like putting sweet things together just really comes more natural to me than savory. Now, sometimes you just feel inspired and you just want to do something, and that's perfectly okay too. I have a child who is very interested in learning these skills that I have obtained over the years to be able to make food, and they just realize how much more delicious it is. They obviously are too young to understand ingredients, but it's just a fun thing to do as a family and to just enjoy together. I usually do about a once a week bake. I will be very thoughtful on the things that I am going to bake. And that kind of comes back to how your pantry is stocked. I have talked many times on here how I believe in bulk buying your food as a mom will help you in tremendous ways, help your grocery budget, help with food waste, help with time management, delegating that, whether it be an Azure pickup once a month or, going to Sam's Club or Costco, wherever the place that you choose to go. It can be really set you up for success in your kitchen because you can basically create a mini grocery store inside of your house where you always have ingredients of things that you want to make and be very inspired about ingredients that you might have because you have it on hand. You don't have to go to the grocery store. It's just amazing. I think that moms will really benefit from bulk buying their food. So when I mill my flour, I personally do not mill a lot of flour. I don't rarely ever store it in my fridge or in my freezer. I personally like to mill it fresh and only mill as much as I need for the recipe that I'm going to be baking. There is a number of reasons why I will bake in this way of milling only as much flour as I need at a time. One, for food waste, and two, because of the way that fresh milled flour will go bad rather quickly. So unlike shelf-stable white flour that has been stripped of all of its vitamins and nutrients, they are taking out, the bran and the germ, leaving the endosperm, which is just protein, which is also gluten, and the starch. With fresh milled flour, you have a wheat berry that is fully intact, and when you mill that wheat berry, you are obviously breaking up that wheat berry and all of the oils that are naturally in a wheat berry or in the bran and germ. Those make flour go rancid very quickly. Usually it's about like 24 to up to 3 days-ish of when fresh milled flour will start to lose all of its vitamins and minerals and nutrients. That's the number one reason why I only mill as much as I need, because I want it to be as fresh as possible. I want to keep all of that goodness that is in fresh milled flour. This is the whole reason why I am doing it. I want to keep those enzymes fresh and ready for when my family consumes these products. We have everything we need to be able to break it down more efficiently. I feel like another great example of this is, buying raw milk. Many people will be told that they are supposedly lactose intolerant, that they're just somehow lacking this enzyme to hindering them from being able to digest the lactose, the sugar in milk. But when we actually pull the curtain back again and start looking at, okay, how are these foods that God has perfectly designed for our bodies all of a sudden causing all of these issues? And 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, it is from these companies that are highly processing these beautifully rich, dense foods that have everything we need in them to break them down in our bodies and be able to have all of the vitamins and minerals that God perfectly designed for us to have. Just like in raw milk that contains the lactase to help you digest that lactose, fresh milled flour also contains enzymes that will help you break down that bread or whatever it is that you're using with the flour more efficiently. Also, because I just don't have that much space in my freezer or my fridge, because like I've said in previous videos, I bulk buy a lot of our ingredients. So I am very strategic on how much space I have, what I can hold, and what it is that I am buying. So I don't want to waste any space with just hoarding this beautiful food that is actually a lot better to do fresh in my fridge or my freezer. Also, another reason why is I just feel like whenever I bake with it completely fresh, it just plays like it should, versus if I were to keep it in the fridge for a day or two. My sourdough starter definitely does not like it. I do a 100% fresh milk flour sourdough starter. I do not have any kind of white flour in my house whatsoever, but when I would feed it that fresh milk flour that's like a day or two old, it just didn't seem like it wanted to rise as much. It was hungrier a lot faster. So I just noticed that it just likes to have it fresh. So those are a few reasons why I like to do it just as much as I need. And honestly, just the way that I have my whole day flow, how my schedule goes week by week, it is just very easy for me to just quickly measure some wheat berries out to however much flour it is that I need and just stick it in my mill, and it just does it for me. Sometimes I do have to turn the bowl depending on how much flour I'm obviously milling, but it's honestly very hands off. Once, like I've been saying, you get that rhythm down and have those solid blocks of time where you know exactly what you are doing because you have planned ahead of time to be able to get these things done. And of course, you can always double batch recipes, stick some in a freezer, and then you might have 2 weeks worth of snacks ready to go that you can just grab, thaw in the fridge, and not have to think about it that much. That is a great way to get ahead of yourself. I personally don't do that too much just because, like I said, I truly enjoy baking. I plan my whole schedule around that. My kids really enjoy doing it. It's not something that feels very daunting to me. It is honestly a true joy, but there's many ways that you can get very creative on how to meal prep for your family, where it can just essentially become a grab and go kind of thing. I always see those on YouTube. I always feel inspired, but I just have yet to do it. But it's very smart. It is a very smart way to really stock your pantry and not just have single ingredients all the time where you have to be cooking all the time. I think another thing I see all the time is moms just kind of baking whenever they feel like it or whenever they think they might have a block of time, and they might have this high expectation and everything just feels like a disaster or a chaotic mess. And you know, your children are right before needing to take a nap and you decided that you're going to make a batch of cookies or you're going to start croissants and laminating a dough. I mean, that's not really the time to be doing that. So that's where it comes back to your kitchen rhythm really is outside of the kitchen, and it has to do with a whole house rhythm. I usually like to do, if I'm doing a big batch of something like you're seeing here, this is actually during my kids' nap time / quiet time. I have some kids that don't nap and I have some that do nap. If I do a dough, I will usually do it in the morning right after breakfast. Usually every single morning when I'm making breakfast, I will tell my kids, hey, this is what we're doing today. This is what's on our schedule. And they just know that that's coming, and I will tell them, you know, hey, today is bread making day and I am going to make this bread, then we're going to do school, and then I'm going to work out, and then usually by the time I'm done working out, my dough is usually done and needs to go into the oven, and then it'll be lunchtime. Learning your flow and learning how to time things can really help the flow of your kitchen also. Now, it's not always going to work like that right now. It's wintertime, so my house is a little bit cooler. So my dough does not rise obviously as fast, but I am not going to start bread dough if I know I have an appointment that day, because it's going to be too stressful. I'm going to be very rushed, or it could overlap each other, and then you're just looking at a disaster of time. One thing that can really solve that problem is just learning time management and understanding how much something may take. Obviously, learning a new skill, it's probably going to take you a little bit longer than normal than when you actually get the ball rolling and are learning these things. But I feel like that is like probably the number one killer for moms when it comes to baking from scratch, cooking from scratch, is just doing the right things at the wrong time and then just getting burnt out and overwhelmed and frustrated, and you just end up giving up because you just feel like there's just too much resistance. But I feel like that's a lot of motherhood, right? Like just stepping back and looking at, okay, what isn't working, what needs to change, how do I change it, and then actually applying it. Because if it's that important to you, you're going to make the time for it. You're gonna push through the hard and actually get it done, and I promise you it's very, very rewarding. So at least at the end of it, you have a delicious, nutritious, wonderful, sweet treat at the end of it. So, I mean, that's always amazing, right? I think another misconception that I see with, the from scratch recipe, when you have people who are interested in it and, are looking into our kitchen via YouTube, Instagram, whatever the platform it may be, you may think that we are baking these crazy meals with all of these, ingredients and just making these very elaborate meals, elaborate snacks and things like that. I think there's a time and a place. I think this also depends on personality, goals of family. If you're somebody who, is wanting to switch your family over from prepackaged foods and you want to mimic those foods in your kitchen, I think that's amazing. I feel like that is so cool. I personally just ditch the grocery store. My kids just don't eat that. I've never made goldfish. My kids don't even ask for goldfish. They would much rather like a muffin that I make or graham crackers that I make or whatever the case may be. Your family really is going to develop a taste and you can just learn to cater to that taste. But I promise you, us moms who are baking from scratch 7 days a week, every single day, or, whether it be, every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then maybe snacks once a week and bread, we are highly simplifying the things that we are eating. And once you start looking at ingredient lists too of store-bought prepackaged foods, you're going to realize how much less ingredients you need to make something and it be probably even more delicious than what you can get at the grocery store, whether that be pizza or something as simple as like lasagna. So super easy to make, super, super simple ingredients. Now, obviously, like I said, there's a time and a place to have these elaborate, dinners or breakfast or snacks. I really go all out whenever it's somebody's birthday in our family, and I will always make my kids' birthday cake from scratch. The other day I got a request to make a Spider-Man cake. This child's birthday is in December, so we just passed her birthday, and I remember saying to my kids, I'm like, wow, you guys have a lot of confidence in me, and I feel so blessed that you really think I could pull that off. I will try my best, but I'm not making those things every single day. And most moms who are, I see it across the board, we are highly simplifying our meals. So I think learning that from the very beginning will really help you to focus on what matters, focus on the goal that you have for your family, and just stocking your pantry with some of those very basic ingredients that can be used in many different kinds of recipes, which can really help you go from I bake when I have time to this is part of how I feed my family. So I feel like everything I'm saying is really just comes down to how the pantry is set up. In the next video, I'm going to be walking you through how our pantry is set up, how wheat is stored, how I rotate it, and how I keep it accessible, because this rhythm only works when the pantry supports what it is that is coming out of your kitchen. Well, friends, thank you so much for watching. I am so glad we got to be able to sit together and chat about all of these things. I hope it is highly encouraging you. This is going to be a mini series of how to cook from scratch for your family. We're going to be covering the basics from start to finish, so I hope you will keep an eye out. Every week when I post a video, we are going to just snowball into the next one. And as always, I will link all the things I mentioned in this video in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will catch you in the next one.